All right. I'll give it a few minutes to let people join in. Hopefully you guys can hear me fine. I hope you guys are doing well. Just had a fun doubleheader of races going on in Atlanta. Fun fact, I ended up driving through Atlanta on the... Me and my friend Michael ended up driving through Atlanta on the way back from Daytona. And I saw some signs promoting the races, so I thought that was pretty cool. All right. Excuse me. All right, so today we are doing our second Racing Infinity Live, and according to the votes, you all voted the most on the Adam Petty Racing Infinity Volume 20, where we follow a timeline where Adam Petty is still alive, and we're in the 2005 season. Adam Petty struggling to find some sponsorship, had a good run at Texas, so basically the race is taking place the very next week at Phoenix, and that's what we'll be doing there. Of course, I'll be answering any questions or whatever you guys have to say, and I'll talk about Daytona and what's coming ahead for Gray Speed as well. 30 seconds late, literally unwatchable. Oh, I know. I am just the worst, aren't I? 30 seconds. Oh, man. 30 seconds I'll never get back. Yeah. Daniel, Corvette, how you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll have some fun tonight. I think we'll have some fun. So, with all that being said, I'll give it another minute, and we'll hop into the race. The good thing is, you might hear NR 2003 in the background, because I have my background noise on, but no biggie. I'll check my volume. Let's see. Okay. Well, worst case, I need to turn it down. I'll turn it down. Anyway, I did have qualifying and all that saved and set up and ready to go, thankfully. Alright. Let's see how that sounds.
Drivers, to your cars.
Drivers, to your cars. Alright. Alright, got that up. Stream is looking pretty good. Alright, well, without further ado, let's look at the starting lineup here. I'll have to do it I don't have free cam up, and sometimes it acts a little funky and I don't want it to accidentally crash the game, so I'll just go through it via the old way I used to do it many years ago. Ryan Newman will start on the pole, and Dale Jr. will start in second. You got Scott Riggs with a really good qualifying run. He'll start third. Tony Stewart will start next to him in fourth. Kevin Harvick will roll off in fifth, and Jeff Gordon will start in sixth. And a reminder, Kevin Harvick is in the 30 in this timeline. And then you got Jamie McMurray, followed by Brian Vickers in the 25. And our point of interest, Adam Petty. Big credit here to Jets Racing Designs for quickly making up this paint scheme. This is not like a permanent sponsor, but Adam Petty was able to find a sponsor for this race involving Bashes. So some good news there for Petty. Got some funding for that team. Hopefully it'll help them perform a little bit better for this race. They got a good qualifying position, and we'll have to see how Petty does. Dale Jarrett will start beside him. Behind them is Mike Bliss in the 0. And Mark Martin in the 6. And then in the row behind him, you have Elliott Sadler in the 38, Kurt Busch in the 97. Rusty Wallace continuing his swan song season. And then you have Carl Edwards. Back behind them, Ken Schrader in the 49. And Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, as well as Greg Biffle in the 16. And you got Casey King behind them, as well as Bobby Labonte. Going through things here, we got Matt Kenseth rolling off with the 17, and there's Sterling Marlin there in the 40. Next up is Joe Nemechek in the 01, and Steve Park in the 1 car. And then, of course, Kyle Petty in the 44, since Adam is still around. And then you have Jeff Burton in the 31. Dale Earnhardt in the Coca-Cola car. He's back towards the back of the pack, so he'll have some work to do. And then you got Ricky Rudd in the 21. DEI entry of Michael Waltrip, and then next to him is Jeff Green. Casey Mears in the 41. And, of course, Scott Wimmer in the 22. Travis Quaffle in the 77, followed by Dave Blaney. Then you got Kyle Busch and Bobby Hamilton Jr., Jason Leveler, and a couple different part-timers in this race. We got Kevin LePage in the 37, and then in the final row you have the 7 of Robbie Gordon and the 00 of Carl Long. Of course, Terry Labonte and Martin Truex Jr., couple notable cars that I didn't put in this just because they were part-timers and they did not run this race in real life. So about a minute away from the command to fire the engines, and we'll get going here. Yep, Bosch has sponsored the Busch race the night before, which is why we decided to go for that. Yep. And obviously, again, a big help. Perhaps it could, if he continues some good performances, it could certainly help save his season and perhaps his career here in this timeline. Let me see how much time. We got about 20 seconds until the command. Comment down below. Comment in the chat, I should say, your picks for this race. Who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart? Maybe Scott Riggs gets the win? Maybe Adam Petty? Who knows? Well, we're all about to find out together.
Start your engines.
And there's the command to fire the engines. And the cars are rolling. .42 cars in the field, and all of them looking for a good points day here at Phoenix. Of course, this is the first year that Phoenix hosted 2 races during the season. I believe was 2005. And here we go. All 42 cars lined up and ready to go. Pace car goes down pit road. And here we go. Newman, Dale Jr., Scott Riggs, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon. And the green flag is underway, and we're racing at Phoenix. Ryan Newman's going to get a good jump and clear Dale Jr. for the lead as Newman leads. Scott Riggs trying to clear Tony Stewart for third. Back behind him, Harvick and Gordon battle for position. That is for fifth. Coming back to the start and finish line. Of course, this was Phoenix in its old configuration as Ryan Newman will lead lap number 1 here at Phoenix. Stewart and Scott Riggs still battling side by side, but Stewart looks like to have the advantage. He'll clear him for third. Riggs will have to settle for fourth, while Harvick and Gordon battle for fifth. And then behind them, you see Jamie McMurray and Brian Vickers battling for position with Adam Petty behind them. We see the 21 of Ricky Rudd coming off pit road. Look out! That got really hairy for a second there. Ricky Rudd nearly took out Adam Petty. Looks like he had an issue there at the start and had to pit. We'll have to go back later and see what exactly happened. He's holding up this inside line meanwhile. Not looking good. Was that the 00 owned by Michael Waltrip? Actually, no. That is, I believe that was Carl Long's team. That was a Dodge. I know there was a 00 Chevrolet that Kenny Wallace and I think a couple other guys drove during that season. Yeah, Ricky Rudd had an issue at the start and, again, nearly caused a calamity there with Adam Petty. Very close call. So things have settled down 5 laps in, and Ryan Newman leads. Dale Earnhardt Jr. second, Tony Stewart third, Scott Riggs, Jeff Gordon, your top 5. It's become kind of a 3-car battle. Caution is out, and ooh, heavy damage for Bobby Labonte. What happened? What has happened here? Oh, wow, they went 4 wide. That is something not to do at this track. Give me a second here. I'm going to mess with a little quick setting here, and we'll take a look at the replay. There we go. All right, let's take a look and see what happened that brought out this caution. Yeah, they were going 4 wide here. Labonte, Schrader, Wallace, and Nemechek. And as you can tell, they all pretty much sandwiched in going into turn 3. They were already making contact beforehand. And Bobby Labonte, there he goes. Oh my goodness, wow. Oof. Bobby Labonte certainly got the worst of that for sure. First caution of the afternoon here on lap 5. Let's see if we can go on board here. And so that is what will bring out the caution. While we are under caution, I want to see what happened to Ricky Rudd during the initial start. It looks like, oh wow, he just, I didn't notice this. He just came to a stop. I don't know if he didn't go, just something broke in the car. Very bizarre here. The 21 just practically came to a stop. Tried to get to pit road. I'm kind of surprised the caution didn't come out when that happened. Wow. Okay. Huh. And that's what sent the 21 on the pit road. Now let's watch him coming off of pit road because I thought a wreck was about to happen here. So, yeah, he got towed, had some work done, and came back out onto the track. Let's take a look here. So here come the leaders. And here comes the 21. This got really hairy there. Adam Petty nearly getting into Ricky Rudd there. Oh, man. Just a close call, and some guys got held up because of that. Looks like he took a trip to pit road again under caution. Check a couple more things here. Looks like a few things did shake up. We had some leaders go down pit road. I noticed Dale Earnhardt Jr. is no longer up here. So we're going to come to the restart on lap 10. The Wood Brothers hired Haas's F1's future crew. We have Newman leading. Tony Stewart is second. Jamie McMurray is third. Then it's Brian Vickers, Elliott Sadler, Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton, Michael Waltrip, Robbie Gordon, Dave Blaney. So yeah, some notable guys did decide to pit, it looks like. Yeah, Kevin Harvick, Scott Riggs, Adam Petty, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. So yeah, looks like the top, these 13 cars here did not pit. Ricky Rudd is lapped. Pace car gets set to go down pit road, and we'll get right back to racing here at Phoenix. Pace car makes that hard left onto pit road. Newman, Stewart, McMurray, Vickers, Sadler. Green flag is back in the air. And Ryan Newman once again clears them all. And the rocket rockets away. Meanwhile, back here for second, Tony Stewart on the outside of Ricky Rudd. McMurray's trying to make something happen here, but I just think that 21 is holding him up. Sadler and Vickers, meanwhile, battling for fourth place. Greg Biffle and Jeff Burton, Michael Waltrip as well, back behind them. As we have a little bit of strategy with with a lot of the leaders pitting here early. Stewart has been able to get past Ricky Rudd now. And now McMurray needs to find a way past Ricky Rudd as well. Michael Waltrip, Jeff Burton. They are battling for position. Let's take a look at the guys who have pitted. Looks like Adam Petty has been the one on the move in that bunch. Looking to get around the 32 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. Petty currently sits in 13th. Dale Earnhardt Jr., meanwhile, has been shuffled back. He is struggling. He got stuck behind that 37 of Kevin LePage. I think that's what's been holding him up. Dale Earnhardt Jr. all the way back into 20th now. So he's got a lot of ground to make up. The 21 is in the middle of the track. Junior, look out! Oh my God, what is the 21 doing? Oh my God, big crash. Wow. I have no idea what just happened. Carl Long with heavy damage. Dale Jr. got sandwiched. The 21, all I saw was that it came to a stop in the middle of the track, and everyone had to scatter. You see Joe Nemechek trying to get back up to pace. He's got some damage to his U.S. Army Chevrolet. We're going to have to take a look because, man, that 21 has been struggling since the drop of the green flag, and things just got worse. He just lost power. His car just slowed down and pretty much putting everyone in danger. Almost, it's, you know, just an unfortunate situation here. And man, Dale Jr., Carl Edwards, Jeremy Mayfield, Jason Leveler, everybody piling in. Nemechek, Wallace Schrader, Carl Long, Steve Park, Bobby Labonte. I guess you could say the big one has struck. Travis Quaffle turning Carl Long around. You could say the big one has perhaps struck here at Phoenix. And yes, it very much reminds me of Cindy Peterson from the 1990 Sunday Night Lights 1997 and what happened in that Minnesota race when her truck broke down and from the lead and causing a pile up there. So once again, just an insane pile up here at Phoenix to bring out the caution after Ricky Rudd came to a stop. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., who got shuffled back with being stuck behind Kevin LePage, things just got worse for him. And he had absolutely nowhere to go, too. Just completely stuck. Several cars just piling in, heavy damage. I had to go on board with Rusty Wallace as well. Rusty Wallace, we're in another timeline. He is a 4-time Cup Series champion. Arca brakes. That's, yep. Gotta love NR 2003 for that. Let's see. Oh, Schrader had hit the wall. Looked reactionary. Oh, my God. What can you do if you're Rusty Wallace in that situation? Or really a lot of these guys. What can you do? I mean, it's just unfortunate victims here. One car smoking real bad. That's Jeff Green. His day is done. Jerry Mayfield's got heavy damage. We'll have to see who is all out and who is all still in. Meanwhile, under caution, the leaders that didn't pit are going to pit this time around. So we see Newman, Stewart, McMurray, and those guys on pit road, and we'll have to see where they wind up here at the end here. And I want to say real quick, I apologize for the lag. It's quite a bit worse than usual, so I apologize for that, and I'll look to see what I can do to fix that for next time. I do apologize. You see Dale Jr. coming into his stall, probably trying to see if they can repair that number 8 car while they're at it. A lot of damage. Newman's taking quite a bit of time on pit road, too. I'm not sure what happened there. And Newman's finally on his way. I'll go ahead and fast forward a bit for you guys. And let's see who is all leading now. We're getting set to come back to the green flag on lap 18. Jeff Gordon leads. Then it's Casey Kane, Tony Stewart, Adam Petty has worked his way to 4th. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is 5th. Greg Biffle is 6th. Dale Jarrett 7th. Jeff Burton 8th. Elliott Sadler 9th. And in 10th place, Scott Wimmer. I see a couple cars on the inside. Bobby Labonte and Ricky Rudd. Hopefully Ricky Rudd's car does not hopefully Ricky Rudd does not become a menace to the field here. Let's see. We do have 4 cars out of the race. It's the 2 of Rusty Wallace, the 01 of Joe Nemechek, the 43 of Jeff Green, and the 00 of Carl Long, all out of the race because of that crazy wreck that we saw that just occurred there. And here we go. We're going to come back to the restart here on lap 18 as Jeff Gordon leads the way, and we're back underway. Let's see who can clear the lap traffic the quickest. It appears Jeff Gordon is going to be just fine doing that. Adam Petty wanted to go to the inside, but he thought different. And now he's going to get stuck behind Ricky Rudd. I think they made contact. I'm not sure what Ricky Rudd is doing today, but he is having a very bad day. And now Bobby Labonte, he's got Adam Petty boxed in. Adam can't go anywhere. I'm sure that's got to be frustrating for the 45. They get back up there. They got a good car, but again, this lap traffic slowing him up. He's trying to get around. Petty finally does. It definitely cost him a few spots, however. You see Dave Blaney in the 07 make his way back up towards the front as well. And with that, Petty has dropped back to 8th place, so not the end-all, be-all for him. Still plenty of racing to go here at Phoenix, but he's going to drift up high. He doesn't want to put himself in another bad situation. Oh, man. Tried to cut in front of Dave Blaney. Could not clear him. Good awareness by Petty, and again, no luck there at all. Dave Blaney's going to get around him. Matt Kenseth and some others may be able to do the same if he can't get past Ricky Rudd. Adam Petty really struggling with lap traffic. Adam Petty is in danger of falling outside the top 10 if he cannot get around that 21. Let's take a look back up front. Gordon, meanwhile, has pulled away. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart and Casey Kane continue to battle for second place. Greg Biffle trying to put himself into the mix as well. Stewart goes to second, and now Casey Kane stuck on that outside line. Starting to drift back. How about Dale Jarrett? Dale Jarrett in that UPS Ford. He doesn't need the truck to get himself to the front. His car's doing just fine. Back here, meanwhile, Dave Blaney in 8th. Matt Kenseth and Adam Petty battle for 9th. And take a look at this. Tony Stewart has caught up to Jeff Gordon, and so has Greg Biffle. Perhaps one of those two could take the lead here from Gordon. Plenty of racing left to go as Stewart peeked down to the inside for a moment, but he's going to think otherwise and stay where he is. Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton battling for 4th place. Casey King back there in 6th. I feel like Sprint leaving Adam Petty had more to do with wanting to focus on the Nextel title sponsorship. And that's certainly a possibility. I have to go back and check when exactly Sprint bought Nextel, though. I don't remember what year that was. I could probably look it up on my phone real quick here. Because, you know, I want to be able to give you guys the correct information. So, actually, it was later this year, or later in 2005, that the merger was completed between Sprint and Nextel to form the Sprint Nextel Corporation. August 12th, 2005. In case some of you guys were wondering. We got a competitive battle up here, meanwhile. These 5 cars all in a pack to compete for the win. Between Gordon, Stewart, Biffle, Burton, and Jarrett, as Burton and Jarrett battle for 4th. Ooh, look at this. Biffle to the inside of Stewart. Great racing here at Phoenix. Can any of them catch Jeff Gordon? Biffle might have an opportunity. He goes to the inside. And now he's side by side with Jeff Gordon. Biffle trying to make that inside line works. Trying to side draft off the 20 if he can. Can he get to the corner panel of the 24? He does. He does. Biffle trying to clear Gordon for the lead. Can he do it? Yes, he will. New leader, number 16, that National Guard Ford of Greg Biffle. And now, look at this. Dale Jarrett on the move. Dale Jarrett to 2nd now. How about Dale Jarrett putting on a good run here this afternoon? It's been a minute since he's been in victory lane. He's looking to change that here today. Gordon and Stewart remain on the outside as Dale Jarrett takes 2nd away. Like I said, doesn't even need the truck. He's doing just fine in that regular UPS-sponsored Ford. Beautiful paint scheme on that number 88 for sure for Robert Yates Racing. Both Yates cars doing pretty well today. His teammate Elliott Sadler back there in 7th, and he's going to look for 6th possibly over Casey Kane. And then back behind them is still Dave Blaney, Matt Kenseth. Adam Petty and Michael Waltrip battle for 10th. In the midst of that is the lapped car of Ricky Rudd with some heavy rear damage. And, man, Adam Petty is just stuck behind him again, struggling to get past this lapped car. Petty's about to be bumped outside of the top 10 at this point. As Waltrip and now rookie Kyle Busch trying to enter the top 10 as well. 32 laps are complete. Now Matt Kenseth's trying to push his way through. Gain a couple more spots. He's to the inside of Blaney for 8th. Casey Kane there too, almost thinking about going 3 wide. Kenseth's going to wait. We saw that 4 wide incident. We don't want anything crazy happening like what we saw earlier. Meanwhile, Greg Biffle has pulled away with the lead. A 1.76 second lead over Dale Jarrett and Tony Stewart. So Biffle might have the car to beat here today for sure. We'll have to wait and see. Jeff Gordon, since leading, has fallen back to 5th place. Still keeping his own. He's got 2 seconds on the next car, Elliott Sadler, who is in 6th. Dave Blaney is 7th. Casey Kane is 8th. And 9th is Matt Kenseth. Michael Waltrip just took 10th from Adam Petty. Again, that outside line is not doing Adam Petty any favors right now. He's been running strong. He's got a good car on him. But again, he's not having the best of luck right now. And that 21 car might continue to be a nuisance to him. Petty, he and Waltrip swap spots on the track. Petty now on the inside, Waltrip on the outside. Ooh, Kyle Busch trying to move Petty out of the way now. One of the hottest young guns in NASCAR right now in terms of performance. He's been doing pretty well in his rookie season. Adam Petty trying to keep that 5 behind him. Trying to get himself back into the top 10. He gets to the inside of Michael Waltrip once more. And for now, Petty has re-entered the top 10. Now he's looking for 9th from car number 9, Casey Kane. And Adam Petty, just like that, back inside the top 10. Biffle's lead continues to grow as he approaches the lapped car of a heavily damaged number 19 of Jeremy Mayfield. Of course, he was in that wild wreck when Ricky Rudd's car just came to a stop in the middle of the track almost. Biffle's going to have no issues and work his way past Mayfield. And at this point, for someone like Mayfield, you're just trying to clock in as many laps as you can and get as many points as you can and salvage what you have. And now the rest of the leaders are soon going to catch him, and I'm curious to see how the leaders will react to the 19. Will any of them have any problems? Tony Stewart, a little wiggle coming off turn 4 as he's trying to chase down Dale Jarrett in the 88. .40 laps complete. How you guys feeling about this race so far? How is your pick doing? Stewart again peeking to the inside of Dale Jarrett. No luck there. Maybe I'll do a quick run through of the field. So Greg Biffle is your leader. Dale Jarrett is second. Actually, we'll pause on that. Now they're catching that lap car. Mayfield, Dale Jarrett in danger of losing second now. Here's Stewart to the inside. Stewart takes second away. Jeff Burton looking to follow. In that singular wireless Chevrolet, he's going to follow Stewart. Very smart of Burton to do that. Dale Jarrett, meanwhile, being held up by the damaged number 19 of Mayfield. And now Jarrett, after losing a couple positions, he'll work his way around there. So now Tony Stewart is second. Jeff Burton is third. Dale Jarrett sitting in fourth. Elliott Sadler now in 5th. Jeff Gordon is 6th. Dave Blaney is 7th. 8th place is Matt Kenseth. 9th, you'll find Adam Petty. And then 10th place is Kyle Busch. Mark Martin is 11th. Jamie McMurray is 12th. Brian Vickers is 13th. It's a lap car there, Ricky Rudd. 14th is Michael Waltrip. 15th, Jimmy Johnson. 16th is Dale Earnhardt Sr. 17th is Ryan Newman, the pole sitter. Casey Kane falling back to 18th. 19th is Scott Riggs. 20th is Kurt Busch. 21st is Casey Mears for the time being. 22nd is Kevin Harvick. 23rd is Kyle Petty. 24th is Sterling Marlin. Scott Wimmer is 25th. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is 26th. Mike Bliss is 27th. 28th is Steve Park. 29th is Ken Schrader. And 30th is Robbie Gordon. Kevin LePage is 31st. Travis Quaffle 32nd. 33rd is the 11 of Jason Leveler. 34th is Dale Earnhardt Jr. 35th is Carl Edwards. 36th is Bobby Labonte. 37th is Ricky Rudd. 38th is Jimmy Mayfield. And then out of the race, 39th Rusty Wallace. 40th Joe Nemechek. 41st Jeff Green. 42nd Carl Long. 45 laps are complete as Greg Biffle has now worked to a 3.5-second lead over Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton, and Dale Jarrett. Stewart behind his teammate Bobby Labonte, who is lapped. And Stewart's trying to work his way past him. Bobby Labonte going to let him by. He sticks to the outside, and here comes Jeff Burton and Dale Jarrett as well. How about Dave Blaney? The 07 car running in 7th. Good run for him here today. In addition to Richard Childress Racing this season with Jack Daniels on that car. Beautiful paint scheme. And I'm noticing the 24 is making his way down pit road. Is it perhaps time for green flag pit stops? Jeff Gordon is among one of the first ones to do so. And right now, I don't see anybody else making their way down pit road. Yeah, just Jeff Gordon. We'll keep an eye on his pit stop. Looks like it most likely is just an ordinary pit stop. 4 tires and some Sunoco fuel, and he'll be on his way. So, not seeing anyone else come down pit road yet, so I'm wondering if Gordon may have potentially had an issue. And if so, that's going to take him out of contention, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh no! Oh no, Jeff Gordon got into Bobby Hamilton Jr., but they keep going despite the contact. Oh, that must have been a bad miscommunication on the spotter. Gordon just ran into the 32 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. That's going to hurt his car. That was pretty significant contact. They just put fresh Goodyear Eagles on that car. Oh, man. Yeah, Jeff Gordon, he must have had some sort of issue that caused him to pit because nobody else has pit so far. Tough break. He is out of contention now to potentially win this race. Absolute shame. Indeed, the 24 chances are up in flames. And no caution because he and the 32 were able to keep going there. It certainly could have been a lot worse. Greg Biffle now working on lapping his teammate Carl Edwards. Perfectly cut, Alex screams. Oh yeah, I dare you to actually split that up. Just hear me go, oh! And that's it. I love following the Twitter page of the announcers with the perfectly cut screams and just hearing Mike Joy going, oh! Or something like that. Biffle works past Carl Edwards. 4.6 seconds out in front. He is gone. He is checked out. Tony Stewart looking pretty good, though, running in second. Things have mellowed out quite a bit. Actually, maybe not. Matt Kenseth got held up by Bobby Labonte, and take a look at this. 3 wide, Adam Petty. Trying to get on the move. looking for 7th. Here comes that 45 Dodge. And Kenseth powers through and holds off Petty. Ooh, Petty got a little loose there. You're the video editor. You do it. Oh, I know. I don't want to do it right now in case the game crashes or anything. Oh, man. I could have sworn I just saw Kyle Busch almost get up into the 6. This is young Kyle Busch, after all. A little aggressive. Adam Petty once again going after Matt Kenseth for 7th. Can he clear him? He has some help from a fellow Dodge friend there in Jamie McMurray. But Matt Kenseth holding his own. Those Roush Fords are tough. But Adam Petty prevails. He's going to clear Kenseth. He's going to take over 7th with Jamie McMurray on the back of that 45 car. Again, special thanks to Jets Racing Designs for painting this 45. And I will have this link to download this car available for you after this race, fun fact. So now we pretty much hit the halfway point in this race. Things have pretty much mellowed out with the crazy start we had. The first caution that involved that 4Y crash, and then we had Ricky Rudd breaking down and a big pileup ensured, and things have mellowed out since then. And again, I want to note, I apologize for the lagging. I will try and address that problem so it's not as much of a problem next time. Alright, see Dave Blaney, Elliott Sadler. Now we're seeing green flag pit stops taking place. There we go. So Adam Petty's sponsor is called, excuse me, for somebody asking Adam Petty's sponsor, that is, see if I can pronounce it right, it's Bashaz, I think it is, as he's coming down pit road now. So yeah, Bashaz, or Bashaz, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, they sponsored the Busch Series race during this time. So that's why they decided to come on and sponsor him for just this race, and gives the 45 a little bit of extra funding to help them out. Oh, Jimmy McMurray just hit the 45 of Petty. Hopefully that won't affect them both too much. Adam Petty really does not want to have anything bad happen. He needs another good solid run here today. He says he's feeling pretty good about the car. He's going to get 4 tires and a full tank of Sunoco fuel, and he's on his way. No issues for the 45. See Tony Stewart on his way down to his pit stall as well, and we'll have to see where everybody is. Once pit stops have cycled through, we'll have to also watch the exit of pit road, and as I say that, I see the pace car on the track. Oh dear, we're going to have to see what happened. Because the exit of pit road has been a little scary here today. I just heard the scraping sound effect. I see Kyle Petty, Brian Vickers. Let's see what happened. So yeah, the 25 was coming off pit road. And just, this was, oh goodness. And Kyle Petty, just innocent victim. Look out, Michael Waltrip. Jimmy Johnson slams into the 9 of Casey Kane. And look out, oh God, Casey Mears just annihilated Sterling Marlin. To quote Jim Ross, bah, God. Oh my God, ARCA brakes. This Marlin had nowhere to go, and Casey Mears just comes in like a bullet and hits the 40. Sadly, not a silver bullet. I'm sure he's going to need a Coors Light after that one. Oh, Mike Bliss just asserting himself through those 2 cars. Oh my God, how unfortunate here at Phoenix. I'm sure this is going to jumble up the field even more. Why don't we go on board with Casey Mears and see exactly what occurred? Yep, that is a teammate indeed. Smoke and... Ow. Oh, Sterling Marlin might be feeling that in the morning. Goodness gracious. Jimmy Johnson, heavy damage. He was in that wreck too, and he's most likely done for the day as well. Yeah, he just Pile up insured and nowhere to go. Slams into the 940 had nowhere to go. And Casey Mears. Taco Bell sound effect. And Mike Bliss said, get out of my way. So... check to make sure, see if anything else crazy occurred. I don't think so. Whoa. And some of the cars trying to catch back up. Here I come to save the day. Yeah, exactly. Did I hear some screeching? Okay, I guess we're good. We do have some cars making their way down pit road. I'm assuming these are guys who have not pit yet, or were about to before that caution came out. And again, this is going to jumble the field up, I'm sure. I can't really tell you who's going to have the lead quite just yet. Scott Wimmer, Scott Riggs. The two Scotts on pit road. Got quite a few damaged race cars here. Again, I can't tell you who the leader is at the moment. I'm going to wait for everything to cycle back here. Right now it's saying that the 10 is leading, but that could change. I thought racing back to the line wasn't allowed in 2005. Yeah, unfortunately, since this game did come out in 2003, it does have all the 2003 rules, such as the restarts and stuff like that. Although they still had single-file restarts in 2005. That wasn't introduced until 2008. So... I think there is something where you can actually have double file restarts. I don't remember what it was. Again, I'm trying to remember what it was, but I thought there was something like that. So that's what I thought. Michael Waltrip is at the tail end of the lead lap. So it looks like Greg Biffle is still the leader. So yeah, Biffle leads, Stewart second, Jarrett third, Burton is fourth, Sattler fifth, Dave Blaney sixth, then it's Jeff Gordon, Adam Petty, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, your top 10. So actually, Greg Biffle doesn't have too many lap cars to pass. That's 77. Maybe a concern depending where everyone lines up. Better caution. Is that what it's called? Better cautions? Okay. Good to know. That may be something I might have to mess around with later. Thanks for letting me know. So I believe that is our third caution of the day. We complete 60, now we're on lap 61. The lights are off the pace car. The leaders will be all there together. This could get a little fun here. We do have the lap cars on the inside. So once again, Biffle, Stewart, Jarrett, Burton, and Sattler, your top 5. We have a few cars on the tail end of the lead lap in front of them. So this is where things could get a little interesting. Who is going to prevail? This restart could be what determines the outcome of this race. And the pace car is just about ready to make that hard left onto pit road, and we will be back up and running here at Phoenix. I finally used it for the first time like a week ago, and I was like, dab. Alright, I'll definitely have to check that out. Here we go. Green flags back in the air here at Phoenix. Greg Biffle still leads. He's got a damaged 77 of Travis Quaffle in front of him, though. Quaffle, however, is going to immediately go to the outside, and he's not looking too fast, but he's able to get out of the harm's way. And we move along. The first lead lap car on that inside is Dale Jarrett. Perhaps can he try and get a little help from the 11, 32, and 21? I'm just not sure about that. Whoa. Jason Leveler there in the 11. That's Stewart's teammate. Nearly got into him. Stewart trying to work his way around Leveler. Biffle leads. Carl Edwards behind him. He is not on the lead lap, however. Dale Jarrett is still shown in third and losing track of first and second at this point as they try to work around the 11 and 21 cars. There is Jeff Burton. There is Elliott Sadler. Burton to the inside of Leveler and Rudd. Going to go 3 wide. Burton currently scored in 4th. Elliott Sadler in 5th. A great day so far here for Robert Yates Racing. And look at Sadler. Trying to catch up to his teammate now. He's to the inside of Jeff Burton. 3 wide again. This time with Rudd and Leveler, it's Jeff Gordon. And Dale Earnhardt. Where did Dale Earnhardt come from? I didn't realize he worked his way into the top 10. How about that? The Intimidator and Adam Petty is behind Earnhardt. Take a look at this. Gordon is 6th, Earnhardt 7th, Petty is 8th, Kenseth 9th, McMurray 10th. And Matt Kenseth! Kenseth nearly, I thought he was going to wipe out Adam Petty for a moment there. Nearly got into the 45. They still keep going, but now they're battling for position. Petty now sits in 8th. He's about to lose that spot, however, to Matt Kenseth. That's right, Dale indeed. Dale Earnhardt looking to walk away with a good result here today. Indeed, this is his final full-time NASCAR Nextel Cup season. Trying to end it on a high note, perhaps make the chase. Meanwhile, I need to take a look at up front. We have a new leader. It's Tony Stewart in the 20. He has taken the lead from Greg Biffle. I thought Biffle had ran away with it, but never say never. So now Stewart leads, but Biffle is still there as they are both behind the 0 of Mike Bliss. Can Stewart try and run away with it, or will Biffle take it back? 69 laps are complete here in Phoenix. Dale Jarrett still in third. He, Jeff Burton, and Elliott Sadler working together to get around some lap traffic as they will get around the 7 of Robbie Gordon. As we now are about entering the final stages of this race, I do expect everyone to pit at least one more time before this race is said and done. Oh my, look at this. Matt Kenseth trying to get out of this mess. McMurray's up there now. Gordon, and now Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick. Some new names entering into the fray here. Adam Petty, meanwhile, dropped outside the top 10. That's gotta be difficult. Adam Petty's been running well all day, and I'm sure a top 10 would be, a great result for him. Anything outside of that, I'm sure he'd be disappointed. As now he, Gordon, and Kurt Busch are 3 wide. Kurt Busch clears them, as now they're just outside the top 10. Harvick gets around Earnhardt for 9th. Mark Martin has now found himself into the top 10 here, as they're all working by the lap car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., who got involved in that Ricky Rudd wreck earlier. And looks like his father's going to be stuck right behind him. I'm sure Dale is probably wondering what the heck happened in that wreck. Of course, he knows that Jr. had absolutely nowhere to go in that wreck. He was just there for the ride. Adam Petty now in 11th. Dale Earnhardt now back in 12th. Things have settled down back here, but Mark Martin now looking to pass Jimmy McMurray. I'm going to take a quick drink here, or as I could quote MRN, let's pause for 10 seconds for station identification here on the Motor Racing Network. This is brought to you by Pepsi. That's what I just drank. No, Pepsi's not a sponsor, but that would be cool. Welcome back. We're at Phoenix, right? Racing here at Phoenix. Tony Stewart's still leading over Greg Biffle. Let's take a look at that. Look at this. Stewart has actually pulled away from Biffle a little bit. Now he's working on a couple cars up ahead here. Michael Waltrip and Kyle Busch. I remember this race in real life when I was a kid because I had gone to bed before the end of the race because it was Sunday, I think, and I had school. But I remember I was waking up hoping Michael Waltrip had won because he was second. And I'm pretty sure he finished second to Kurt Busch in this race, and it was really close. So I actually vaguely remember that memory. So yeah, I started watching in 2004, and 2005 was the first full season that I followed NASCAR. Dale Jarrett still sitting there in 3rd. Jeff Burton is in 4th. Elliott Sadler 5th. That's a lap car of Kevin LePage there in the 37. Jimmy McMurray working past Matt Kenseth. Now they're dealing with some lap cars. They're the 32 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. PepsiCo sponsors of Davey the Disappointment. Aww. And after this race, I'll talk more about Sunday Night Lights and all that fun stuff. But Davey Allison's been weird in Sunday Night Lights. Things didn't go well at Yates, and then he went to his dad's team, wins the championship. He's won some races, but now he's struggling again. So it's been very odd. But we'll talk more about that later and all that. So 78 laps are complete here at Phoenix, and again, Tony Stewart still out in front trying to keep some lap cars between he and Greg Biffle. Went the wrong way there. Elliott Sadler now. He's looking to take 4th away from Jeff Burton. Still battling side by side. Who's going to get the upper hand? Well, it might be Dale Jarrett because he can pull away from these two now. As Sadler looking to join his teammate with some top 5 glory. Sadler just about clears Burton. I'd say some M&Ms sound pretty good right about now. Sadler takes 4th from Jeff Burton. And Clifford the non-factor Allison. Adam Petty. Yes, let's take a look at Adam Petty. He is, the main attraction of this version of Racing Infinity. Racing Infinity Volume 20. This is the race. Those of you just joining in, this is the live Racing Infinity where you voted on what you wanted to see, and this is taking place a week after the events of Racing Infinity Volume 20. Bash's Supermarket has joined on to sponsor Adam for this race. Which, by the way, thank you, Toad85, for the reference there. It is a supermarket chain. Adam Petty looking strong. He's doing a good job there in that 45 car, looking to get a top 10. Pretty much looking for some good momentum here to push himself into the summer. Maybe perhaps find himself in victory lane. That would be a big deal for that team for sure. Every lap and every race counts. That's how Adam Petty is feeling. He's got to make the most of it right now. Dale Earnhardt, meanwhile, back there in 10th. Worked his way up through the field. Kevin Harvick behind him. Kurt Busch and Adam Petty trying to work their way past lap traffic, as well as Jimmy McMurray. McMurray sits in 7th. The one Ganassi car having a good day, despite Marlin and Mears wrecking in that last caution, that last incident. Davey slipping away, Allison. Man, we're just coming up with nicknames for drivers. When first we started the running gags at the Twix yard and all that, now we got nicknames for drivers. Here's a fun question then. What's a fun nickname for Patty Moyes in Sunday Night Lights, since her and Shauna kind of made a huge impact in this timeline? Kind of curious what you guys come up with. Tony Stewart now getting some more lap cars between he and Biffle. Biffle trying to get around Michael Waltrip. He is not having a good time with that. There's the 44 of Kyle Petty, who was involved in a wreck. Stewart now gets around Kyle Busch. Top 10 is based. Absolutely, absolutely. Getting to now 25 laps to go here at Phoenix. Things are looking better and better for Tony Stewart. And now look at this. Elliott Sadler battling his teammate for 3rd place. The Robert Yates Fords looking strong here today, but now trying to one-up each other. It's M&M's versus UPS. Patty's nickname should be the Jacksonville Barbie doll. She is a native of Jacksonville. That is a fun fact. Racer Barbie. Okay, I like that. And again, like, her having a sponsor like Barbie actually could help bring in a new demographic to the sport. My friend Rose Jam actually came up with that sponsor idea in paint scheme, so big shout out to Rose Jam for helping out with that. Sadler has one-upped his teammate. He now moves into 3rd. Dale Jarrett back to 4th, and now Jeff Burton is knocking on his door. And could he take 4th away? Patty, move over, Moyes. Okay, this is getting fun, I'm not going to lie. I love him. Keep him coming. How about Bubba Nissen, since he's been like the big wild card? Been the big, like, who is this guy kind of driver in this timeline? All right, Mark Martin. Look at Mark Martin. He's working his way up to the rest of them. Car number 6 running in 6th. McMurray and Kurt Busch have caught up to Kevin LePage. And Kurt Busch is asking McMurray to move aside. I'm going to take this position. And that's Sharpie Ford of Kurt Busch. Looking to move the 37 out of the way. And he goes to the inside there. Kurt Busch is currently scored in 7th position. 8th is McMurray. 9th is Adam Petty. And then 10th is Matt Kenseth. He is behind that 21 of Ricky Rudd. A very damaged rear end of that Motorcraft Air Force Ford. And McMurray, he's in trouble. He is stuck behind Kevin LePage. McMurray finally gets into the inside. He'll lose a position, though. Adam Petty now moves up to 8th. New driver in 10th. That's Kevin Harvick in the 30. Robbed by his crew, Moroso. Goodness gracious. Under 20 laps to go. Ooh, what is going on up here? Dale Jarrett has just taken third back from Elliott Sadler. They have caught a couple of lapped cars. That's Mike Bliss in the 0 and Kyle Petty in the 44. It's Kyle Petty, of course, in Sunday Night Lights, the 1992 Cup Series champion. And has also become more successful in the Sunday Night Lights timeline, of course. Dale Jarrett behind the 0 of Bliss. They also need to try and figure out a way around the lapped car of Jeremy Mayfield as well. Bubba, alternate history's favorite driver, Nissen. What if Bubba Nissen drove a Nissan? Bubba Nissan. I have no idea what I'm doing. Anyway. Yes. You can boo me for that one if you like. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart is checked out. He is just about 3 seconds ahead of Greg Biffle. And Dale Jarrett is 6 seconds back from the lead. As Tony Stewart works on the 25 of Brian Vickers. 16 laps to go. Biffle now just working past Casey Kane. All eyes are on this battle for third. Mark Martin now joining in on the equation. And now Martin to the inside of Sadler. Alex, don't leak the mid-2000s script. Gosh. And here goes Mark Martin. He gets around Sadler, and now Mark Martin enters the top 5. Meanwhile, we see Kurt Busch and Adam Petty working around Adam's father, Kyle Petty. I can't wait to see how Adam Petty does in Sunday Night Lights. Yeah, we've obviously not giving anything away. We have discussed him and how he enters this timeline. Obviously, he's going to be a big what-if driver, so I'm excited to see how he does for sure. I'm sure he'll be very hyped up in this timeline with the success that his father has had, more than in real life, of course. As you see Adam working past his father, I'm sure Kyle is very proud of his son. Ooh, we see some leaders pitting. We talked about this. I was saying we have to have one more round of pit stops, and they are happening. And it's happening pretty late here in the race with about 12, 13 laps to go. So these pit stops are going to be very crucial. Tony Stewart now works his way down pit road. He's got a lengthy lead. But of course, if he's not careful, he could lose that lead very easily. Kurt Busch still out there on the track. He has to pit. See, I see Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, Adam Petty, Jimmy McMurray are on pit road as well. See how Adam Petty does. He's in his stall, hoping for a quick pit stop here. Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin pull out. 2 tires for the 45. Go, go, go. Adam Petty needs to get a move on. Now we have 11 laps to go. And of course, we got to watch the exit of pit road. Hold your breath. Adam Petty's good. 3 wide, meanwhile, in front of him. Jeff Gordon, Kyle Petty, and Travis Quaffle. Jeff Gordon quickly chasing down Elliott Sadler, meanwhile. Let's see, Matt Kenseth on pit road there. He's coming off pit road. Kelly the Kid Earnhardt. That's a good one. As Mayfield is there, no issues there. I see some smoke, though. Uh-oh. Caution. And we have a caution. 10 laps to go. This time it's Robbie Gordon. He comes off pit road. Kyle Petty, Tony Stewart side by side. Not Kyle Petty, Kyle Busch. And they both go into the wall. I'm sure Kyle Busch... excuse me. I'm sure Kyle Busch is not going to be happy with Robbie Gordon there. Oh my goodness, man. And Tony Stewart, that could have gotten really scary for him. That could have cost him the race. I wonder if Kyle Busch was a saving grace there. Oh, man. Tough break for Kyle Busch there and Robbie Gordon. The caution is out here with 10 laps remaining here at Phoenix. And we'll have to see where everyone lines up. Because, again, the caution came out during green flag pit stops. We'll have to see where everybody is. So it looks like Greg Biffle is once again the leader. Tony Stewart is second. Dale Jarrett is third. Mark Martin is fourth. Jeff Burton is fifth. Elliott Sadler is sixth. Adam Petty seventh. Then it's Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick. That's your top 10. We currently have 7 laps to go. The lights are off the pace car. I believe everyone's in a single file line because it's under 10 to go. So Tony Stewart, he's going to have to be on it on this restart. He doesn't have much time. He's going to have to get around that 25 fast and see if he can chase down Greg Biffle. Kyle Busch angry. More at 11. Can Greg Biffle hang on for the win? Of course, Subway is one of his sponsors. I'm pretty sure this is the Subway Fresh Fit 500, I believe this race was called. Off pace car down pit road. Here we go. Green flag back in the air with just 6 laps remaining here at Phoenix as they duel in the desert. And Tony Stewart, I talked about this. That's exactly what he had to do. He had to get around Brian Vickers as quick as he can. Steve Park there, that's a lap car, not a factor. Tony Stewart did exactly what he had to do, but now the question is, can he chase down Greg Biffle? Mark Martin, meanwhile, up to third. He's gotten around Jarrett. After them, gotta look back to I want to say the 38. Jeff Gordon is actually not on the lead lap. So not a great day for Hendrick Motorsports. As Brian Vickers continues to drop back. Jeff Burton made contact with the 25. And they keep going. No issues, no caution. They still keep racing. 4 laps to go. Greg Biffle pulling away. Tony Stewart running out of time. This is starting to look more and more like this will be Greg Biffle's day. Off turn 4, back to the start and finish line. There'll be 3 laps to go here in the desert. Yeah, actually, Biffle definitely pulling away from Stewart here. And the third place car, you got to go back about 2.5 seconds. That's Dale Jarrett in the 88. It looks like he is battling Mark Martin for third, actually. Mark Martin trying to hang on to that spot. It's going to end up being a good day for some of these 4 teams. Mark Martin, Elliott Sadler, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, Dale Jarrett. 2 laps remain for the Biff. In the end, it really came down to the 16 and the 20, and thanks to that caution, it really benefited Greg Biffle, and this will help him towards his run to making the chase for the Nextel Cup. Here we go. White flag presented by Credit One Bank. That company did not exist yet, so I shouldn't be saying that. White flag is out here in Phoenix as Biffle still leading by 0.6 seconds over Tony Stewart. This will be a good day for Jack Roush's squad. He's going to have 3 of his cars finish inside the top 10. Off turn 4, checkered flags in the air. Greg Biffle wins at Phoenix. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Biffle getting the job done. Tony Stewart finishes in second. Let's take a look at our final results here. That is true. Yeah, Biffle goes back to back. I forgot he won at Texas. Oh my goodness. Give me a second here and we'll look through the final results together. And we'll discuss some more fun stuff. There we go. Just gotta make a quick adjustment here. Let's see. Is this the correct one? Yeah. Yeah, Adam Petty finishing in 8th. That's a really big deal for him. That's certainly going to help him. So Greg Biffle is your winner. Tony Stewart is 2nd. Mark Martin 3rd. Dale Jarrett is 4th. Jeff Burton 5th. Kurt Busch 6th. Elliott Sadler is 7th. Adam Petty finishing in 8th. Again, good momentum for him and that Petty Enterprises team. It is much needed right now. Matt Kenseth is 9th. Jimmy McMurray rounds out the top 10. 11th was Ryan Newman. 12th was Kevin Harvick. Dale Earnhardt finishes in 13th. Dave Blaney finishes 14th. Scott Riggs in 15th. Scott Wimmer was 16th. Ken Schrader 17th. Kyle Petty, last car in the lead lap, in 18th. Mike Bliss was 19th. Jeff Gordon was 20th. Steve Park finished 21st. 22nd was Kyle Busch. Kevin LePage. It's actually not too bad of a finish for that 37 team. They finished in 23rd. Michael Waltrip 24th. 25th, Bobby Hamilton Jr. 26th is Dale Earnhardt Jr. 27th is Carl Edwards. 28th, Jason Leveler. 29th, Ricky Rudd. And 30th, Brian Vickers. Robbie Gordon was 31st. 32nd, Travis Quaffle. 33rd, Casey Kane. 34th, Bobby Labonte. Jerry Mayfield was 35th. And then out of the race is 36th and Sterling is the 36th is Sterling Marlin. 37th, Jimmy Johnson. 38th, Casey Mears. 39th, Russie Walsh. 40th, Joe Nemechek. 41st, Jeff Green. And 42nd was Carl Long. All right, well, what you guys think of that race? Thank you guys so much for voting and participating. Thank you guys so much for enjoying this race. We have a lot more things to go over and discuss before we head out for the evening, but, man, that was fun. These lives are pretty fun, I admit. It's fun actually getting to do a live race with you guys and just kind of, just doing a fun live reaction instead of me sometimes, because I'll sit there and be like, oh, I can't wait for, to see how people react to this. It's kind of like recently, Sunday Night Lights 97, when, we had Kelly Earnhardt win the Daytona 500. Yeah, I was sitting there going, oh, man, how are people going to react to this? Shauna Real Deal Robinson. I like that one. Hey, man, she's certainly the real deal in the Sunday Night Lights timeline. Her and Patty, man, it's, oh, man. It's broke our brains at this point. It's just crazy to think now that NASCAR just looks so much different, and we're still in the 90s. So yeah, there's that little graphic there. Thank you, Jets Racing Designs, for making that very quickly, so I could throw that there on the stream really quickly. All right, so now we're at the point where I'm going to just begin discussing content and the Daytona trip as well. Obviously, me and my friend Michael Klein, we went down to Daytona recently. Had a lot of fun. it's funny because I kept checking the weather because I want to make sure because it's like, I hope it doesn't rain. I saw that Saturday and Sunday and I went, oh no. I was like, I had to go back to work that Tuesday because I work Tuesdays through Saturdays. So, and by the way, huge thank you to Brayton Laster and his folks for hooking Michael and I up with credentials. I got a wonderful opportunity to get to meet some people, a lot of people. I did some interviews throughout the week, just so to help spread the beauty of racing, right? Just to spread the positivity of it and just really showcase why racing is so great. So I got to talk to all sorts of drivers. So Super Bowl Sunday was the day we drove. I'm not gonna lie, I had no interest in the Super Bowl this time around. I'm a Bengals fan, so I thought we had it 2 years ago. Pain. Jeez. Anyway, Monday we decided to go to Volusia. Never been there before. It's a nice dirt track. I want to say it's about 40 minutes away from Daytona. So I got to interview a couple people. I got to meet and talk to Max McLaughlin, which was really cool. The next day we went to New Smyrna. I saw the ASA guys, the ASA Stars National Tour, I think it's called, and the Whelen Modified Series. Got to see, I think it was Bubba Pollard who won that ASA race, and Ryan Preece winning the modified race. And before the race, I actually got some interviews too with some drivers there. Just met all sorts of great people. And then Wednesday was kind of a have fun day. And then we had all the fun stuff at Daytona that weekend. Again, I was in the garage area a lot. Again, huge shout out to Brayton Laster and his folks. Thank you for the opportunities for getting to hang out with you guys again. Brayton and his family, they are great people. Brayton's a cool dude. Really bummed he didn't get to make the race at Daytona, but I want to talk about that with Daytona, the ARCA race. I was amazed, 50 entries. That's the most they've had in years for Daytona, which is awesome. Really thrilled for ARCA that they had that many entries. Of course, the big story, if you don't remember, was Shane Van Gisbergen. Shout out to him. He got third at the Xfinity race here tonight. Let's go. I'm not going to lie. I've been... I kind of am cheering him on. I hope he does well. And I really like what Trackhouse has been doing as well since coming into the sport. With that being said... ARCA did group qualifying. You remember when NASCAR tried doing that for a little while during the mid-2010s? So there was group qualifying. And SVG, of course, he's still kind of learning how, the ovals work and everything. He lost the draft, and it cost him. I am not joking. I was in the infield. I was in the garage area. And the ARCA official hauler was jam-packed of all sorts of different teams, because not only, because they were also trying to sort out, they sort out manually, okay, here are all the times, here's who's where, who made it, who didn't, who's in, who's out, who's using a provisional, because some teams could use provisionals depending on last year. And SVG, they ended up buying a spot, because I think it was, they ended up buying a spot, and it was just wild how that all went down. But and then, of course, that Friday, we're walking around, and then suddenly we get told that they moved the race to that evening. So, yeah, I think we were there until 1:30 in the morning. It was a wild night for those two races. So, of course, got to see Nick Sanchez get his first career win. Which, I think Nick Sanchez has a lot of talent. I think he's a star on the rise. And it could be one of those moments where I look back 5 years from now and go, yeah, I was there for his first win. That's me with Ty Gibbs now. I went to the ARCA and truck races at Gateway in 2019. Ty Gibbs, who was like 16, 17 at the time, got his first career ARCA win by making a last lap pass on Sam Mayer for the win. And then Ross Chastain winning the Truck Series race, the infamous The Wheel. Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool. And now when I look back on those two races and now look at them, Ty Gibbs is in the Cup Series. Ross Chastain has taken off as a star. Now he's driving with probably the hottest team in NASCAR, the hottest rising team in NASCAR right now in Trackhouse. And he's got Busch as one of the sponsors now. So it's cool when you look back at that, and that wasn't that long ago. Now, it's just so, and not to mention how much the sport has really changed since then. 2019, that was the year I graduated college, and a lot has changed. Let's see here. Alex Bowman fan, I felt crushed that he almost won. Yeah, I didn't realize about the whole issue with the fuel strategies during that race. Because being there, and I was second to last row up towards turn 1, so I was way up there. Like, no joke, the flyover, them Thunderbirds, when they did their individual flyovers, like, I swear one of them was at eye level. It scared me. They were there very low. I was like, ah! So, but no, it was still cool. The Rock giving the command. And what's cool about it is The Rock's still talking about on Twitter. He's still talking about his experiences at Daytona, which is really neat because he seemed like really engaged with that. And it was really neat to see all these celebrities come out. I know Pitbull wasn't able to do the concert. He said he'll do it next year. DJ Khaled was there. Apparently he's interested in running a NASCAR team possibly. I will say Wendy's. I applaud Wendy's for what they're doing here because I would love to see more of this with NASCAR. They had a activation area set up in the infield. And I think that Thursday evening, me, Michael, and some friends, we went over there. And this time, they had the place where you literally just walk up and you get a free meal. So you get a burger, fries, some chicken nuggets, a little Frosty, and a Coke or a drink. They actually had a freestyle Coke machine there. Can you believe it? It was really cool because this time around they added the mini golf course. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do the mini golf course. Didn't have time. The weather, of course, kind of played a factor. But I did check out this drive-through tunnel. I admit I actually, on my camera, did record the experience because I wanted to, because at some point I may show you guys. It was so cool. It was like showing digital art. All this really cool digital art, and it featured DJ Khaled, of course, like a cartoon version of DJ Khaled. Another one, we the best. There is a shirt that Trackhouse is selling right now that I kind of want to get. It has Suarez, SVG, and Chastain on it, and it says "Biggie Boys for Life." It's Wendy's, right? So I'm like, oh my god, that's great. And then we decided quickly picked up some lunch Friday afternoon before heading down to the garage area. No joke. I see a cart show up. It's Ross Chastain. So yeah, I saw Chastain there, and then I saw Suarez. And they actually did a mini golf thing. They had a segment for Fox. Because I remember Suarez was handed like a red jacket, like at the Masters you get the green jacket. So I thought that was funny. I really applaud what Trackhouse and Wendy's did there, and I really think we need to see more of that. Also, Corey LaJoy with Chili's. That was awesome to see. It's stuff like that I think the sport needs to push more. Did you see that Wendy's recently added with the promotional drinks, like what each, I think, wasn't it the Coca-Cola racing family, like what their favorite freestyle drink was? I think that's what it was. And again, it's little things like that. That's what I love. And of course, at one point we ate at the Cheddar's across the street from the track, and had to get the number 8 special with the chicken tendies. So that I tell you what, that fills you up. That plate fills you up. But yeah, that was really cool to see that Wendy's activation area. That was so cool. It's been really cool to see a company like that get into the sport. There are certain teams that I've noticed in recent years that they're doing things a little differently, and I think that's a good thing. And I know I've talked about Trackhouse a lot, and I really like what they're doing. It was funny. I look back on that. They first announced this team. I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I'm curious to see what this team does. I wake up one morning and it's like, hey, Pitbull's gonna be a co-owner, and I went, Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide. Good Lord, I was listening to his music in high school. This is awesome. So, and then, he makes a freaking album off of it, referencing the video game move, referencing the drivers, and, that's so cool. Dale Jarrett was in a Wendy's ad back in the day. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Interesting. I'll have to look that up. But, thankfully, I had a lot of vacation time, so I got an extra day off so I could stay Monday and see the races. Obviously, Saturday and Sunday, it rained like cats and dogs. One last thing. If you're ever down in Daytona, there are a few places I recommend you check out. Obviously, the beach. Got to go to the beach. Even though it was in before the rain came, it was like upper 60s, so the water was still kind of cold, but still just go there and at least dip your toes in the water. Just say you did it. It's the beach. I mean, look, I live in Cincinnati. I don't get many opportunities to go to the beach, so the only other time I did was I had a trip to Spain back in 2013, and yeah, I got to swim in the Mediterranean Sea. That was kind of cool. So yeah, and on the beach there's this restaurant, and it's a museum too. It's called the North Turn, and it's called that because it was located right where the North Turn was of the old beach course, of course, where NASCAR got their start. Yeah, right there. There's like a little museum there, so, while you're waiting for your table, you can actually walk around, see all the different things they have, and all these different pictures and artifacts they have. It's really neat. Food there is great, and it's kind of cool because we got to, we get to sit in this balcony right by the ocean. I mean, it is beautiful. So yeah, the North Turn's cool. Wednesday we got to go to the Streamline Hotel, and we just managed to stumble upon this. There were a lot of legends signing autographs, so we got to see Jeff Bodine there, Daryl Gwynn, Kyle Petty, Jody Ridley, Norm Benning. Got to see Norm Benning. What was his name? Will Cronkite, who was the first the 96 car that Dale Earnhardt drove way back when. Got to meet all sorts of cool... Donnie Allison, all sorts of legends were there signing autographs. We were meeting people. It's kind of funny because I see some of these names and I'm like, oh my God, these are... I know these names now because of Sunday Night Lights. Like, Doug Heverin was up there. And just some names that I recognized because it was like, oh yeah, this driver, that guy. So... it was really cool, and plus just getting to be there at the Streamline Hotel, I mean, that's where NASCAR was born. It was in that building. How cool is that, There's also this really cool restaurant called the Cruising Cafe, all NASCAR themed. The booths are actually in 90s NASCAR cars. We got to sit at the Dale Earnhardt one. I remember there was a Dale Earnhardt one, there was a Jeff Gordon one, I think there was a Dale Jarrett one. Again, these were from the mid to late 90s. But it's still a really neat place. Show those drivers your series. I mean, I don't want to take up their time. There was all sorts of people there, so yeah, I didn't want to take up their time. But if I had the time, I could have. Although I will say, some of the people I got to meet in the garage area, I did tell them what I was doing. They seemed to really like what I was doing, which is awesome. By the way, if anyone out there new to the channel, hello, how you doing? So yeah, I've never been to Spain, but I kind of like the music. Spain's a nice country. Spain is a beautiful, beautiful country. Barcelona's nice. I actually we had a bus tour, and we got to drive along where I keep forgetting the name of it. It starts with an M, but it's up in the mountains looking over the city, and a F1 course used to be up there until like a really bad crash happened there. It's right up there where the Olympic Park is. So yeah, they actually pointed out where the pit stalls were and all that. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Valencia is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen. Right off the Mediterranean. Madrid's also really nice. Anyway, getting off topic here. How did your umbrella handle Daytona? Actually, I bought a poncho. So I figured safe bet. Luckily, the gift shop were selling them for $8. So I was like, I'll just grab a poncho, and it held up. It did its job. Kept me dry. So that was used that very well, especially on Saturday, walking around the Midway. Midway was cool. Oh yeah, the Midway had this really cool, like a mobile museum. It's going to be at some other races this year. I'm trying to remember what races they're going to be at. But it's this little museum that kind of celebrates the diversity and inclusion in the sport, which is really cool. There was all sorts of things, obviously celebrating like for all the way from like obviously some of the female pioneers in the sport, drivers like Wendell Scott, Bill Lester. It was really cool because it just kind of shows that NASCAR is for everybody. And if it's at if you go to one of the races it's at, I highly recommend you check it out. And of course I saw the one section that had the female drivers, and of course I saw Patty Moyes and Shauna Robinson, and I couldn't help but smile because I'm like, oh man, how about that? And now in Sunday Night Lights, they're superstars essentially. I wonder if I have it over here somewhere. Let me see. I had the poster. Ah, I found it. I found the poster. Yeah, it's NASCAR Fueling History. It's like a mobile museum. So they're actually at Atlanta this weekend. They're also going to be at Richmond. They're going to be at the 600 that weekend. They're going to be at Gateway. I'll be there. Chicago. I'm hoping to be there. They'll also be at Fall, Talladega, Miami, and then Phoenix at the end of the season. So if you're going to any of those races, I highly recommend you check out this mobile museum. It's called NASCAR Fueling History, and it just celebrates all the diversity and the inclusion of all those different figures that we've had in our sport. And it's really, really neat. It's really fascinating. Again, highly recommend. It was so cool to see all that. All right, so I know I've kind of been talking. Obviously, you have any questions, feel free to ask. Garrett is here. How you doing? I've been to Barcelona a few years ago. Amazing place. Yes, I got to tour FC Barcelona's stadium. In one of my backup drives, I got photos from that trip, and I have photos of Camp Nou. Man, that place is amazing. Leo Messi played there, right? Let me drink my Pepsi here, and I'll discuss some content to kind of wrap up the evening here. And again, we had up to about 16 viewers. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream here this evening and spending your Saturday night with me. I really appreciate it. One of my favorite things about Sunday Night Lights was seeing sponsors like Gatorade and Dirt Devil vacuum cleaners stay around much longer. Yeah, we try to do some research and think, what sponsors make the most sense. It's kind of interesting because Gatorade's been with Ricky Rudd since the start of this timeline, 1981. So going into 98, that's like 17 years? My goodness, wow. That is a long time. I think that beats out Johnson and Lowe's pretty easily, I think. Yeah, Rudd and Gatorade, that's 17. It's going to be 17 potentially going into 98. That is, of course, if, Gatorade still sponsors them. I'm not giving anything away. We're still very much playing 98, which we're planning to have released in the summer. So obviously next for Sunday Night Lights is is like the restart, the remaster. And again, it's just basically going to... It's kind of like a refresher. Because, how he made my NR 2003 videos 4 years ago was not as great as it is now. So I want to be able to... What I'm capable of doing now, I want to put into that. And I'm going to go back in time and just say, like, okay, here's a rundown of what has happened so far. So it'll be split into 2 parts. We're going to have it come out in the spring. So the first era is going to be like the early years. So like 81 to 88, something like that. And then the second part will be 89 to 97. That's going to be the plan. I've been writing everything out for that script and everything else, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. So yeah, that's the next thing for Sunday Night Lights, and then after that will be 1998. And by the way, again, I gotta say thank you so much with SNL 97, because that was a very rough evening. The fact that, I was having issues with the video processing, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to get it out that evening, and I was heading to Daytona the next morning. Thank goodness I slept in the car. We had 51 viewers during the premiere, which shattered my previous record, which I think was at 37. And that was on a delay, so I was like, oh my goodness. I admit I was just overwhelmed, but in a good way. It was like, oh my goodness, wow, people really love this stuff. This is great, and it's great that people enjoy, because I want to be able to just create things. I want to be able to just show what makes racing so great. I want to showcase the sport that I love, and then it hit 1,000 views in, I think, less than 72 hours. Which is the fastest growing video that I've had in recent memory, and for Sunday Night Lights as well. So, seriously, thank you. That was awesome, and it all worked out. And yeah, just really appreciate it. So again, the remaster, the restart's coming out in the spring, and then the summer will be 98. And then at that point, I'm kind of looking too far ahead. But by the fall, I'd like to get 99 out and essentially be done with the 90s within this year. And then kind of grow upon things when I hit 2000. Let's see. If Patty and Shauna met Haley, it would be the past meeting the future. It's kind of interesting. You got to look at the domino effect and think, with Patty and Shauna, and now... them becoming big stars of the Cup Series, and they're winning races and everything. And then now it's getting passed on to, Tammy Jo Kirk, Kelly Earnhardt. And now you start to think, what does this mean for future female drivers like Danica Patrick, like Hailie Deegan, like Tony Breidinger, and other drivers of that nature? That's something to certainly think about, that, of course, we're still years off from some of those drivers, right? So... just think about that domino effect and what it causes. I love the fact that Martin, Allison, and Rudd became Cup champions in this timeline. Yep, Mark Martin was the 1990 champion with Bud Moore. And again, I'll be sure I cover that in the remaster video. But basically, I think it was 83 where Mark Martin shockingly won a race at Atlanta. So, and he won 4 poles. So I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I'll have him run the rest of the season and see where he lands. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll put him at Bud Moore. And what does that mean moving forward? And, Bud Moore's team improved, and Mark Martin won them the championship. So I think in this timeline, Bud Moore now has 3 Cup championships as an owner. Davey was kind of the wild one, as I talked about earlier. He struggled at Yates. He had a good year, and then he struggled again, and then he left to his dad's team, wins the championship out of the blue, finally wins a race, And then after that, he was solid for a bit. He won some races. And last couple seasons, he's been struggling again. So things are kind of up in the air for him. But he's still going to have to be... I can't tell you where he's going to be for 98 or what's going to happen. But, I mean, if he goes somewhere else, he's going to have value. He's a champion. You're going to want to sign a champion to your team, right? And then, of course, Ricky Rudd. Yeah, he's had a great career. Honestly, I could say he had a great career in real life, but in this timeline, probably even better. We had Dygard stick around longer, and then, Ricky Rudd joins Hendrick. He's won all sorts of races. He won the 500 in 96, won the championship in 93, all with Gatorade. So, I like champions. Yes, champions are great. Dale Earnhardt's only a 3-time champion, but he's also won 3 Daytona 500s. He's still among one of the best. Rusty Wallace, man, 4 championships, and 3 of them have come within the last 4 seasons. Let me think here. 94, 95, 97. Yeah. So, yeah, and Penske's been something, man. They're on it. Roger Penske, he already has 2 championships, where I think he had to wait until 2012 in real life to get a championship. Out of all teams Matt Kenseth could have gone to, why did he choose Penske? More just so Ford can get some big prospects going, and Kenseth was certainly one of them. And now, with Kenseth getting that big win over Richard Petty in that Super Sportsman race, it's going to be kind of a big deal. Yep, 2012, okay. Rusty and Penske have entered God mode. It does feel like that. And with Sterling Marlin now there, he's already doing so much better. So you got to think, could Sterling Marlin potentially win a championship? Because, that's just something to think about. And then, let's see, AK Racing, they're starting to, Alan Kulwicki's starting to build that program a little bit. Ernie Irvan had a career year in 1997. And Alan Kulwicki is suddenly really good on the road courses. So, yeah, it's been wild, but fun. That's the biggest thing, that this has just been a lot of fun to do. So, yeah, again, the remaster's coming in the spring, and then we're going to have 1998 in the summer. 1998 is going to be a big year. 50th season of NASCAR, 50th anniversary. Who knows what could happen. All sorts of things can happen. So stay tuned for that. I'll have updates for sure. Racing Infinity. We got more of those coming. We have more of those planned. We are actually working on the next one right now. So I'm not going to show you exactly... what it is. Good timing there, Jet. Checking for something. Yeah, actually what he just sent me involves the next Racing Infinity. But I don't want to give a lot away, except, I want to give a little hint away. What's a good hint I could give away without doing too much? I don't want to sound too obvious, but I want to keep you guys thinking. Keep you all on your toes. Keep you all guessing. I got it. So technically, it's split into 2 parts. But one will cover... It's going to be basically within the same weekend, but 2 different events going on, and what ifs will be going on. I know that sounds kind of vague, but that's what I'll say. We're technically planning the next 2 Racing Infinities right now. So stay tuned for that. I think you guys are going to love this. This is going to be a fun one. I think you guys are really going to like this one. But yeah, think a weekend. There's 2 races going on. They're pretty big deals. One will cover one, and the next one will cover the other. There we go. I'll word it like that. Sometimes I struggle with wording things, so I apologize. Yes, race fan, yes, it involves cars going noom. It does involve cars going fast. Very fast. Glad to see old Wally having a better career. Yeah, Wally Dallenbach's had a pretty respectable career. You know, he's gotten a few wins, including the Brickyard 400. I mean, if you're going to win only that many races so far, Indianapolis is a place to do it, right? Daytona's the same way. Kenny Wallace and Morgan McClure. Okay, let me go back in time. So I think Ernie Irvan was with them. And then I had him go to Junior Johnson. And at that point, Kenny Wallace had been in the Busch Series for a while. And that's how we kind of ended up with things. We felt like it made sense for him to take over that 4 car. And Kenny's gotten a win or 2 as well. Again, he won at Indy too. The first 2 winners of the Brickyard 400. It's an interesting list of Brickyard 400 winners. We've had Dallenbach, Kenny Wallace, and then Shauna, and then Kowicki. So, Tony Stewart at DEI would be interesting. Yeah, he did drive for them in the Busch Series this past season for some races. So, you know, we have to keep an eye on him. He's got a couple wins under his belt now. Definitely going to make that jump to the world of stock car racing, it appears. So yeah, we got a lot of good stuff planned for you guys, and I'll continue to share some of my photos, and I'll be sharing some of the I'll look to share some of the interviews as well from Daytona, because I got to talk to some really great people, all sorts of different people. Had a blast with it. Besides that, feel free to ask me any more questions. I know we're kind of hitting 2 hours on the stream. Can't wait for Restart. Yeah, absolutely. Restart's going to be a great refresher for everybody. It's kind of fun having to go back in time and how I handled things then compared to now. Obviously, and this will be a good way to showcase that with the better quality that I'm able to produce now. You know, the graphics changes, and doing better with Streamlabs OBS, and doing better with the FreeCam. The only issue I have is I'm on my laptop right now. I got my PC next to me, and I want to get FreeCam to work on the PC, but every time I try to use it, when I hit, I think it's Control E, the camera just spins. Like, it just keeps spinning and spinning, and I can't get it to do anything else. It kind of just spins in the one position it's in, so I gotta figure out how to fix that. Therefore, you know, I kind of have a little bit more room to work with things. Not just one thing, but both things, you know. If there was one car mod, any type you wish was made for NR 2003, what would it be? Ooh. That's a really, really good question. Wow. Honestly, I would love to see if it's possible to make an updated sports car mod, like IMSA. Of course, the different classes kind of make things a little tricky, but, you know, so they may have to be separate mods, but, like, you have, you know, one for the prototype cars and one for the GTD cars. I kind of noticed that. We, you know, getting an upgrade on, like, sports cars today, right? Get today's IMSA cars and stuff like that. Speaking of sports car racing, we went to the Motorsports Hall of Fame right by the track in Daytona. They also have the winning car from the 500, so I think Byron's car is probably in there now. But I didn't get to see Stenhouse's because they had already taken it out. It was on Saturday, before the day before what was supposed to be the 500. They had the Garage 56 car in there. I saw it at Indy too, so it's just really neat to see that. I think it's really cool what NASCAR and Hendrick did for that. Not only seeing all the Freebird memes, but also that I think it's helped kind of grow that European presence for the sport. Because now more people are going to be like, hey, NASCAR, what's this? This is kind of cool, you know? I think, and again, stuff like that's good for the sport. Indy's a wild card in the SNL timeline. Someone remind Weber not to touch the winning car. Will the old IMSA stick around much longer? IMSA will be fine. The stock GT thing is just a series where, you know, road course racers can come in and have a better way of transitioning to a stock car by competing in that series. That's what that's for, and it, you know, helps. I mean, you know, Tommy Kendall right now, he's starting to win on ovals. He's becoming a really good prospect to come out of that. So IMSA's gonna be fine. You know, it's just for guys who want to go, hey, I really want to give stock car racing a try. Maybe I can, you know, hop into this series and see how I do, test the waters out. Okay, I'm doing all right in this. Maybe I can bump up to the Busch Series or the Cup Series. Front Office Sports had a good feature with Jimmy Johnson talking about NASCAR's booming interest in the UK recently from Garage 56. Yes. Really good article there. And, you know, that's why I kind of want to see these international races, right? I know Steve Phelps had the interview with Chris Myers at Daytona recently. He did say that he feels really good about there being a race in Canada and Mexico, as well as Southern California next year. So it looks like the Clash might be heading to Mexico. I would be really intrigued to see if they put the race at, like, of course, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where the Busch Series raced for a while back in the 2000s. Or if you want to try the stadium, maybe Estadio Azteca. I had a crazy idea. You know, if you want to do the Clash a little bit differently, couple ideas. Number one, the Melbourne Cricket Ground in Melbourne, Australia. Why do I say this? That place packs 100,000 people. And it's a cricket ground. Plenty of space to work with. You could put a short track in there with no problem. Just imagine if you could pack over 100,000 people in there. And of course get drivers like Shane Van Gisbergen in there. Oh man. That could be huge. Wembley Stadium might be another option. I know the Race of Champions thing goes on in there. I believe that's where that one year where Carl Edwards beat Michael Schumacher in a race. I think it was like 2007. IMSA would be in a split around this timeline. Oh, yeah, because there was American Le Mans and the Grand Am. That's right. And then they merged. That's right. The Mexico Busch Clash. Yeah, that was that looks like it's a possibility. I'd like to see it at the Coliseum one more year too, just because I really hate that the weather, you know, the once in a generation storm that came in kind of really put a plague on things. So I kind of hope they get one more shot to do that. If not, so be it. But you know, they did say they're going to race in SoCal next year. I'm kind of curious to see what they do, because I know the short track won't be ready just yet. And I know Irwindale and Kern County, I know a lot of people would like that, but again, are they ready to host a cup race with the facilities they have? My suggestion would be, why not Long Beach? Maybe you could work with IndyCar and perhaps, you know, share a weekend with them for that. You know, who knows? Sportsman Series is going to hit peak when 1998 rolls around. The Super Sportsman Series has produced a lot of really good talent. 96, you had guys like Dale Jr., John Nemechek, and you still have guys like Mike Skinner, David Bonnet, and now it's creating more guys like Matt Kenseth working their way up through. And then, of course, you had the Truck Series. Jeff Bodine found a resurgence. You got rising stars like Paige Jones and Kevin Harvick. All three series that were introduced in 1996 have really served their purpose well so far. The class should be held at the Nashville Fairgrounds. That's an interesting choice. Obviously, I know they're working towards trying to upgrade the facilities there to get the Cup Series back there. Be interesting to see if they get it done. I guess we'll have to stay tuned on updates for that. Don't forget young Richard Petty. Yes! Richard Petty winning a Super Sportsman race at age 59 in 1997. Who knew, right? Man. I remember when I did that, I was just like... And of course it was North Wilkesboro, so I'm like, you know what? This is kind of fitting. I guess this is why I think NR 2003 is just self-aware. I think it's just self-aware of what I'm trying to do. And then it just goes, hey, we're going to do this. I'm like, all right. Because, we have a rating system. We rate the cars and then let them go. Let them drive. See what happens. And that's been the beauty of it, is we've been able to create these stories in this timeline and have a little bit of domino effect and the cause and effect and go, okay, this happened, so because of that, this is what could happen, or this is going to happen now because of this. Like 1989, Patty Moyes won the Cup race at Michigan, and look what it's led to, right? She becomes a great Cup driver. Shauna Robinson comes into the fray, wins the Busch Championship, wins the freaking Daytona 500, and now she won the Brickyard 400, or really, I should just say, she won at Indy, and then we got other female drivers coming in like Tammy Jo Kirk, Kelly Earnhardt. Kelly Earnhardt, of course, she wins the freaking 500. And what's interesting, because I always kind of wanted to go into, like, what if she expanded on her Cup career, or in her racing career, because I read an article, I think it was from, like, 2012, where Dale Jr. actually brought up how Kelly was actually really good. And if things had played out differently, if the climate was better and everything else, how could her racing career have turned out? Well, thanks to Patty and Shauna, Kelly's career gets greenlit a little bit more. We had the story where she did some part-time races. She finished college. Still gets that business degree and everything else. And get that business background. And then, she goes full-time racing. IROC. I'm excited about IROC coming back. I'm curious to see... how that all's going to look, because I think they're going to use like the old cars and just have them in a race together. So that'll be interesting. It would be fun to get the new generation of IROC, which I've said it before. I'll say it again. IROC is definitely sticking around in this timeline, because I as a kid I really enjoyed it. I think a little bit more could be done with it, but, anything's possible, right? So, kind of curious what they'll do with that, with IROC returning, so. It's more so a reunion. Yeah, it is pretty much like a reunion. I know they have, like, Ray Evernham still has, like, from the Pontiacs to the Dodge Avengers, all the way back to when it started with the Porsches, which I wouldn't mind seeing one of those Porsches in action. That's kind of unique. I'm just kind of curious where this kind of vintage race will be like. Speaking of which, that reminds me, I remember when I was at the Streamline Hotel, we got to talk to this guy who he competes in like this racing series that meets up like once a month or something like that. And they race vintage race cars. And they all get new, like a fun little race together. And he was kind of just telling about the car and everything. I just thought that was really cool that, people do that, right? And, some of those race cars still get used, which is really neat. It's just also kind of crazy to see how much the sport has developed and changed over the years, too, now that I'm looking at it with all the stuff I saw from the museums and everything else. So, I'll probably give this a few more minutes, and then I will call it a night. So, again, feel free to ask any questions. If you guys have anything you'd like to add on or comment or ask, feel free. There's a lot of good stuff coming ahead, so stay tuned for it. We'll have some updates soon, for sure. So, and of course, we had a lot of fun with this second edition of the Racing Infinity Live. And again, you guys like this, we'll do these more often for sure, just so we can just chat, and I can give you guys updates on things and how things are going. And now that I'm fully settled in and back from the Daytona trip, I'm ready to get back on that grind again. So I feel like Kelly Earnhardt could eventually end up becoming an owner driver. Yeah, and she could also end up helping out at DEI in this timeline, just depending on how things work out. Because right now, she's set to have a pretty promising career, She's already got a couple wins, she's made some noise, and I think she's only going, and there's a good chance she probably improves more and everything else, so. And obviously, enjoy the Cup race tomorrow at Atlanta. I'll ask a fun question. Who are your picks for tomorrow at Atlanta? If I had to make some picks, the Fords look pretty good there. I'm gonna go with Chris Buescher. I'm gonna go with an RFK guy. Do these RA live streams at least once a month. I could, for sure. If possible, we could certainly do that, just to kind of keep in touch with everything and continue to produce content and everything else. So, in terms of races I want to go to, I'm hoping to get to the Spring Bristol race. I noticed that tickets were a little more expensive than I thought, so I definitely want to do Indy again. I really would like to do Chicago. Gateway for sure, because, I get to hang out with my dad and, and all that and see the family. So, and, whatever else comes about. The IMSA race at Indy would be cool. I'll probably shoot for the Indy 500 again. Kyle Busch drove through the field at Daytona multiple times. Okay. Welcome to 2024. Corey LaGoat. Hey, Corey LaJoy, he almost won the summer 2022 race, so I like that pick. If he wins, we all have to yell, "Hi, welcome to Chili's." Every Ford will spontaneously combust and leave a path open for BJ McLeod. Can I just say for the record, that second dual race, BJ McLeod getting up to third and staying with the pack there was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I've met BJ McLeod in the past. He is a super awesome guy, really nice guy. He does a lot to help out small teams, and just to see him up there, that sponsorless 78 car, I'm like, look at BJ go. Look at my boy up there. He is up there with the top teams of the sport, just vibing. How cool is that? And then, unfortunately, he came up short of making the 500. But, man, what an effort. Just absolutely great effort. So, I'm kind of intrigued to see what he'll do tomorrow, He may surprise some people. We'll see. If he can stay in the draft like that, you never know. Both those dual races were actually really good. And all things considered for the 500, I thought the 500 was good too. I know people were bummed about the finish. Not gonna lie, I was pulling for Ross. I was like, oh, come on. And, if he was able to make that pass, it would have been one of the greatest passes for the win ever. But unfortunately, it's the Daytona 500. You're going for it, I remember when that big one happened, and I saw 7 cars come back around. I was like, oh boy. And then at that point, I had saw the 24, the 48, and the 9. And I sat there and I went, well, I think Hendrick's at an advantage here. All it takes is for at least 2 of them to hook up. And Byron was in a really good position there. Oh, man. The crowd was great. It was on the chilly side, but the crowd was great. It was a great day. It really was. Let's see. Yeah, and then, of course, the Xfinity race. I'll point that out. It was actually kind of cool to see Natalie Decker lead some laps there. I know she had to pit still, but, she kept the car clean, did a really good job throughout that whole race. And she led some laps. She led like 7 laps. It was really neat to see that. So, couldn't help but be happy for her to see her, leading at Daytona. It doesn't matter where you finish or who you are. You get to lead at Daytona. You gotta be proud of that, because you can tell people like, yeah, so you're a race car driver? Did you race at Daytona? Yeah, I even led there. Stuff like that. Like, dude, like, and then that wild wreck there at the end. Again, I was pulling for Shane Van Gisbergen. I'm sorry. I love this whole story with SVG. The fact that, Project 91 thing, and he gets invited to do this Chicago street race. He shows up. He freaking wins in his first ever Cup start. His first ever race in a NASCAR stock car, and wins. Like, I was going crazy. I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. And now look at him, man. He's running full-time Xfinity. He's doing the Cup races. That's really cool. Alex needs to see the first female winner in a national series. It's only fitting. You know what I'm hoping for? If Tony Breidinger runs the truck race at Gateway, I hope that's what happens. I hope she just shows up and wins. Because, I gotta say, Tony Breidinger, she's got that activation with Canes, Racing Canes. I love me some Canes, by the way. I like the chicken fingers, which I think is great. Again, seeing companies like that getting involved in NASCAR and ARCA, that's a huge deal. So, I'm kind of cheering to see a female driver succeed. I want to see Hailie Deegan do well. I want to see Tony Breidinger do well. So, if I could see the first female winner in a national series, I would be honored with that. There's quite a fun. There's a few fun moments I've had when going to races. One of the first ones I can tell you was 2006 at Kentucky when David Gilliland showed up with the small team and beat everyone to win, which was just absolutely nuts because me and my dad got sweets through somebody. Everyone was like, "Who the heck is David Gilliland?" I was like, what in the world? He just passed J.J. Yaley. So it was just wild. I saw Dario's flip there. 2007, Talladega, I saw Jeff Gordon pass Dale Earnhardt on the all-time wins list. What else? Tony Stewart climbing the fence in the 05 Brickyard 400. What else? I'm trying to think. Of course, I've had a lot of, let's see, 2017, I went to 3 Cup races, like my little mini Dale Jr. retirement tour. Excuse me. Obviously, the Kyle Busch finish at Kentucky in 2019. Well, I forgot to mention the Busch race at Talladega. Saw Bobby Labonte beat Tony Stewart at the line. That was cool. I got plenty more to tell. Anyway. Is Project 91 even going to happen? I would think so. Actually, fun fact. 2 diecasts I got recently were Project 91 cars. One of them is Shane Van Gisbergen's Chicago car, and the other one is Kimi Räikkönen's car. The I think it's ONX, something like that car. So I got the Räikkönen car at the Daytona Beach Flea Market. They had the tents set up out there. Yeah, female participation is in racing is growing all over the place. There's certainly a lot better chances now than there were then, for sure. So I can't help but cheer on and hope, hoping to see some good things out of drivers like Haley Deegan and Tody Breidinger. The only 2 people to pass Yaley, David Gilliland and Jimmy Johnson. But speaking of Johnson, that first duel race, my God. I had to hold my breath, man. I'm like, oh, Jimmy, please get in. And then, I think we all had to sing Higher by Creed in unison at that point when he beat J.J. Yeley to the line. I mean, I could attempt to sing it, but I'm not the best singer. And secondly, I know how YouTube can be, so I'm not going to risk it. Because somebody actually did that. Somebody just started singing Higher by Creed as Jimmy over the clip of Johnson passing Yaley to make the 500. In the fan zone at Daytona, there's an area, it's right next to the Cup garages. And they have something, you've probably seen it, they have something where you walk up to the window, you can watch the crews work on the cars, and there's a little slot underneath. So if the driver's there signing autographs, you can put something underneath or take a quick picture, stuff of that nature. So that was cool. That was really cool to see. So I got to see Johnson's car up close. I didn't get his autograph though, but I saw his car up close and couldn't help but smile seeing Creed on the car. When is Sheldon Creed going to win? I hope so soon. I hope so soon. I feel, man, he's had some rough luck, man. He's in second, he's leading on the last lap, and then something happens, I'm just like, ugh. So. Tony Stewart. Oh, the kid's an idiot. He wins 1 Busch race, and he's a cup driver now. Rose Jam. I went to the IndyCar finale in 2013 and 14. I was even in victory lane for Will Power's title celebration. Oh, really? Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, when I had credentials at Kentucky in 18 and 19, I was in victory lane. So I guess that Kentucky race in 18, that was Furniture Row's last win. So I was in victory lane for Furniture Row's last win. I was also in victory lane when Ben Rhodes won there, which that was cool because he's from Louisville. He's a Kentucky kid, so I remember talking to him the next day, and he told me at that point, that was like winning the Daytona 500 for him to just win that race in front of fans and friends and family, which is really neat. And then, of course, he goes on to win at Daytona. He wins a couple championships. He's doing all right for himself, And then the next year, I was in victory lane for the truck race with Tyler Ankram's currently only win. But again, that's just, you look back at that stuff, you're like, yeah, that's kind of neat. The other one was just this last year. I had credentials at Indy, and I decided, because I was taking photos, I was like, okay, there's a handful of laps left. I had been walking all over the road course at that point. I am dead tired, and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to head back to pit road because it looks like I can take photos there for the finish. So, ran over there, and what was funny was it was hot. There was, in the fan zone or whatever, somebody was giving away, was just passing out these electrolyte drinks. He looks at me and smiles and shows two of them at me, and I told him, "You read my mind, thanks." I chugged one of them down, I walked over there, and then suddenly I realized as McDowell is doing his burnout, everyone was running towards the pit road wall that was close to the track. So I was like, okay. And so I run up, and I ended up taking one of the greatest photos I ever took of McDowell's burnout. And just seeing him celebrate and up and close, that was so cool. Because I remember just walking back going, I can't believe I not only witnessed that, but I took that photo. It is now my wallpaper on my PC. And I am forever proud of taking that photo because that's just... I took a lot of good photos that weekend, but that one was like, holy wow. So I thought I'd tell that story real quick on all that. Yeah, I think Roger Carruth could win at some point. I really think so. He's got a lot of talent. I wonder who's the next music act to join Legacy Motor Club. Oh, that's a good question. We had Guns N' Roses, we had Creed. I forgot what the company was, but it's through that company because they're promoting like a certain band. Since they actually did just release an unreleased song from 2017, can we get a Linkin Park car? Because next year they're going to be eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I'm really hoping they get in because I think that band deserves it, and that band meant so much to me growing up. I witnessed the slide job, Bowman's first win in Buescher's 600 flip live. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Montoya. You know what's funny? I was at the 2009 Brickyard 400 when Montoya had led most of the race, and then that foul up on pit road happened. And then I went to the 2015 Indy 500, and as in some sort of mini redemption arc for me, I got to see Montoya win that day, and probably was one of the most exciting battles. It was between him, Power, Dixon, and I think Charlie Kimball. But I was like, how about that? We got to see Juan Pablo Montoya win the Indy 500. That is so cool. So in the 3 Indy 500s I've been to, it was Montoya in 15, Castroneves in 21. That was super cool because that was his 4th one. That's history making. And then, of course, Newgarden last year. So the Indy 500, man, it is truly something to withhold, just like the Daytona 500. Let's see. I have never been to a Monster Jam event, funny enough. But, that's one of those things where I certainly wouldn't mind checking it out one of these days. And all that. Oh my god, I've been going forever. 2 hours and 24 minutes and 42 seconds currently. Wow. Yeah, really enjoyed chatting with you guys, I really do. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the stream up here. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It was a fun race with Racing Infinity Live and the Phoenix race. A wild Phoenix race for that matter with the wrecks we saw in that. So, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for more Sunday Night Lights and Racing Infinity updates. We got a lot of great things coming here on this channel. And, yeah, just thank you guys so much for all your support. And it's always a pleasure talking to you all. So, you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. And all that. Have a great weekend and enjoy the Cup race tomorrow. So, and yep, that'll pretty much do it. So I'm signing off, and I will see you